Okay. So the title this week that we sent out,
This one is this week.
the title we sent out was, it's actually a connection to last week. The title is, how do we appreciate ourselves, right? There's a famous Hayom Yom that really is it seems to be a simple Hayom Yom, but really it needs a lot of reflection. The Hayom Yom says as follows. A chassid is supposed to know mohus atzmoi. Supposed to know the core of his identity, his or her identity. And he continues and he says two components in how we know ourselves. He's supposed to know milas atzmoi and chesroinus atzmoi. Person should know their virtues and their shortfalls, the areas that they're not so good at. The Hayom Yom is taken from the letters of the Frierdiker Rebbe, a lot of it. Look at the Diburim, Sichos. And the Frierdiker Rebbe has a long discussion on this Hayom Yom. Let me start off the discussion with two questions. Two questions on this Hayom Yom. Question number one. Many people react to the Hayom Yom and they say either or. Either they're going to say, you know what, I see very clearly my chesroinus, but I don't really feel my maila. People react to the Hayom Yom that way. The chesroinus are right in front of my face. The chesroinus are vivid, they're felt, they're in my kishkis, they make me crazy. But I don't really get that other part of the Hayom Yom, which is the maila. Some people react the other way around, and they very much feel their maila, and they kind of say big deal to the chesaron. Mm-hmm. And so the real question, the first question is, how does a person pay attention to both equally? Where do we find that how do we develop that approach? It really seems to be a contradiction. And question two highlights the contradiction. If you really think about it, where does simcha come from? In other words, a person can ask the same question in another way. Ibdu es Hashem es simcha. Why should I even think about chesroinus? Milas bring a person to a feeling of sipuk, of simcha, of ispash, of a good feeling of expression, self-expression. And it propels a person to go further. This whole business of looking at chesroinus puts a person down, squashes a person, holds a person back. It's two opposite feelings. One feeling is a feeling of expression, a simchadika feeling, and another feeling is a atzvastika feeling, as a depression kind of feeling. So they're really opposite feelings. They're really opposite kind of outlooks and focuses. How do you focus on both? It doesn't seem like it's possible. It's either or. If you look around, you'll see I have times that I focus on miles, I have times I focus on chesroinus. So it sounds very nice to say focus on both, but it's a stira. It's really a contradiction. It's either or. It's either I'm focused on my maila, and therefore the chesaron doesn't really take such place in my eye. It's not teifas makim. It doesn't really hold value. It doesn't pay to pay attention to it. I overlook it. Or I end up paying a lot of it and I get sucked up in this chesaron business and I feel like I'm lost. So the Hayom Yom seems to be telling us a nice message, but it obviously there's context here that it needs to be taken with it. And we'll soon see the Hayom Yom is referring to a different mile and different chesaron. It's not the regular mile and chesaron that we have, because that's really a contradiction. We'll see how that plays out. But that's a question. It's a different approach to a mila, it's a different approach to a chesaron. It's not the regular approach, because the regular approach is contradicting. Either mila or chesaron, either simcha or atzvos. You can't have both. That's the teva. This is the nature of a person. Now it's important to note that this Hayom Yom is used not just in self-growth as a Hayom Yom, but the Rebbe brings it down in letters for two areas that I've seen it highlighted a lot. In the area of chaverim, I'll show you a letter in a second. In the area of being able to develop friends, which we spoke about last week, Knei Lecha Chaver, the prerequisite is seeing your own chesroinus. For some reason, to have a friend, I'll show you the letter. I actually made a copy of the letter. Some reason, the prerequisite, and that doesn't really make sense. What, I'm supposed to belittle myself? And also, what is that really? Obviously, it's a different kind of chesaron we're talking about. It's a different approach to a chesaron and a mila. But I just want to show how this hayem yom is used as a centerpiece, as a foundation for chaverim. The Rebbe brings it also for shidduchim. A girl writes to the Rebbe, I didn't bring this letter, but the first letter about chaverim I did bring. It's the same concept, chaver, basically connecting to another person. The girl writes to the Rebbe, she can't find the shidduch. So the Rebbe, first thing the Rebbe writes, she says she can't find a passendige shidduch. In English, it means the right one. So the Rebbe writes, the cook's nicht a passendige weg. You're not looking the right way. And the Rebbe goes into a whole discussion of 3 different points, not for now, but the first point that the Rebbe writes there is how you look at yourself. Ein adam shalom. Do you know your chesroinus? So this nikud of seeing chesroinus somehow is not only simple kind of tool in self-growth as some kind of isolated self-growth, but it's a foundation in how you present yourself, how you're able to connect to others in a healthy way. It's a foundation for a person. So we have to really understand what this Hayem Yom really means. Good? Now, I'll promise you to show you the letter. The letter's right over here. The first letter in the booklet, right? So the letter is written b'mayna l'mechtava, the first letter, Mechelik Yitches. And the girl writes to the Rebbe that she cannot find friends. She can't find friends. And therefore she finds herself lonely, and this obviously affects her matzav ruach. She's depressed. Says the Rebbe, number 1, she should be misyaitz with her teachers. She should consult with her teachers who is someone worthy or proper to become friendly with. And then she should make the proper effort to become friendly with them. But bichalolus ha'etze lahokul ha'siyadatus, this paragraph is one I want to highlight. A good etze, the Rebbe is giving advice how to help friendship. Asher ein adam sholem b'chol hamaylis. There is no human who is perfect. V'gam hi bichlal, she's also part of the human race. So she's also one of those people who's not sholem b'maylis. So he said, that recognition will change her approach to seeking friendships. So there's something very fundamental here in this hayem yom of the chesroinus and the milas, that yes, you need chesroinus. That person who says, Yivdu Hashem b'simcha sounds very nice, and therefore don't focus on chesroinus. No. There's something very fundamental, but we have to understand what this is. Good. So in order to understand this, there is I'm going to share with you a discussion, a mimer of the Frierdiker Rebbe. I did make a copy so you can look at it later. Maybe I'll quote certain parts of it and show it to you later inside the third paper on your handout. It's a copy of the Frierdiker mimer. And he explains 2 ways. I'll say it outside and then I'll show it to you inside. He explains fascinating discussion on how we view ourselves. So he says like this, there's a shuffle and there's an anav. In English it goes like this. There's an unhealthy way. A lot of times they're confused, the two, like they're exchanged. Shuffle, anav, shuffle. But if we look at it in a very defining way, like what each one really means, is two different pirushim, 2 different understandings, meanings behind each one. A shuffle is an unhealthy approach to life. I'm bashing myself. I'm like, it's an unhealthy it's an unhealthy focus on chesroinus. I'm a nothing. It's unhealthy. That's not what we're referring to. That leads to atzvus, and that has no purpose, that has no place in any growth. That's a shuffle. It's like a quicksand. It's like a quicksand kind of thing. It pulls you down. That's not gross. That's sucking you down. There's no place for that. What's a anav? There's a famous word with Moshe Rabbeinu. What's a anav? And we need to understand this. Let's pay attention to the famous word and try to understand what this really means. A anav is going to be an amazing quality of a person. A anav is not someone who's oblivious to their milas. A anav is someone who's 100% conscious of milas, 100% conscious of chesroinus, 100% happy, and 100% able to connect to others. How does he do that? What's this approach to anivus? So there's a famous word about Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was known. He was Mikol Ha'adam. He was Moshe Rabbeinu. Adam made Mikol Adam, but he was also the biggest person. There's a lashon in the pasuk that he was the biggest person that ever was. So one second, if you're the biggest person and you know you're the biggest in the sense of greatest, then how can you be a nanav? So it's brought down. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu said to himself. We all have heard this, but let's ask a simple question on this. This is what is brought down. What is it brought down? It says Moshe Rabbeinu said to himself, I know I'm very great. I'm very aware of all the different gifts that I have. But I attribute it to a gift. The Eibishter gave it to me. The Eibishter gave me certain talents. And it's only because the Eibishter gave me those gifts that I was able to develop the heights that I developed. And then there's one more point that Moshe Rabbeinu adds in his cheshbon that allows him to connect the others and be able to not become overly exaggerated ego, inflated ego from having such a great virtue. He says if someone else was given that gift, they also would have done maybe even better than me. So that's the general lingo, that's the general statement that we attribute to Moshe Rabbeinu on how he was a nanav. Let me ask you a simple question. A rich man is someone who has money. At the end of the day, he's rich. Someone else could have been given his opportunities, but they don't have his money. A chacham, a very smart person, can say someone else was given, but b'poyol mamish, you have it. So you probably feel naturally good with what you have. You know, a child comes home, and the child is going to say, on the report card, it's going to say, your child has a lot of potential. It doesn't make you feel great. Everyone had the potential to do with Moshe Rabbeinu, but they didn't. So why should that stop me from feeling great? I did. They could have, should have, would have, but didn't. So what's the cheshbon over here? It's a very nice cheshbon on paper. But in practical life, why should it stop me from feeling great? I'm the one that did it. So I still rightfully feel who I am, which is better than others. So why? They could have, yeah, they could have. Maybe. True, but Poyel Mamish, I have it, so I feel good about it. So how does that really affect the greatness if someone else could have? What are we trying to say with those words? Someone else could have, so therefore it's a matana mash. I know it's a matana mash. But I used that matana, and I developed it, and I worked. That potential that was given, that everyone had, I utilized that opportunity, and I did something out of it. I didn't squander the opportunities that were given to me. I have what to be happy about. I have what to feel good about. So you might kind of put it in context, fine, but what's really behind this statement? There's another depth behind this statement that ties into what Anab is, that ties into the Hayim Yim that we started off with, which is the Chisaron that we're supposed to have a certain kind of approach to. What does it really do? Good, so let's review what we have here before we go to the answer. What do we have? Again, we start off with Hayim Yim. Yom Yom says a person should somehow has the ability to zoom in to Milas and Chesroinus. And we're trying to figure out how do we have an approach that can include both. Usually it's Mila or Chesaron. We asked another question that it affects Simcha versus Atzvos. It demands two separate intense feelings from a person. And we brought out how in Chassidus, this concept of seeing Chesroinus is attributed to an approach called Anivus. What's Anivus? So we have this grand statement about Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu knew who he is. He knew all his virtues. But if someone else would have had, okay, someone else would have had. But B'Poyel, I have it. And B'Poyel, I feel good about it. What are we trying to say with this? So here is a beautiful approach that the Friedrich explained. It's like this. There's two kinds of people. You see it in life in every area. You see it in business. I'll give two examples. In business and in knowledge. Two examples. In other words, you see this all over. Two approaches. Let's take a businessman. A businessman. Two kinds of companies. You see this in companies. The focus of a boss of a company. And you'll see which one is more successful than others. One businessman focuses on value to the company. We need to make sure we're the best company. So they're always focusing on what's value. keep on seeking more value for the company. It's important. There's another kind of business, and they seek to service the customers. Don't worry about value. Focus on making sure the customers are happy. I'm not even thinking about value. Just focus on the journey we have, which is serving the customers.
Why? Because that increases the value, right?
But I'm not focusing on the value. I'm focusing on my journey. A company, he looks at his company as a journey. We're on a journey, and we have to do all we can to make sure our customers are happy, whatever it takes. We're going to have ups, we're going to have downs, we're going to have times that we feel valuable, but don't get carried away with your feeling of valuable, because then you won't focus on what the customers really need. And you're not going to listen to what the customers tell you, because you're going to feel like you're a valuable company, and valuable companies don't have to listen to customers. Don't, he tells all his employees, no. I want you all to look at this as a journey. Focus and tune into the service we're doing here. You've got to focus on the customers, making sure you give a good service. Those companies turn out the best companies, because they don't hear about, they're not focused on value. The value would mean they have a lot of sales. They're making a lot of money. Their stock is going high. Don't focus on that. Just focus on making sure the customers are happy. Let me give you one more motion.
This is more important.
Right? Why? Because what happens is, when you're focused on the journey you have, you automatically get value. And the value you have is going to be a whole different kind of value. Let me give you a second example to bring this up. There's two kinds of teachers. Some chachamim, they want to share something, so they know what they're going to share is a smart thing, and they know the people they're going to share it to don't necessarily know it on their own. They say a story of Chaim Brisker. Chaim Brisker was a very big guy, but he was an emistic person. He would sometimes have a shir. He would give a shir. He would announce as a shir, middle of the day, Gemara. Then he would cancel the shir. So my high. So he said, I had a shir, but then I chapzich on a question that slugged up the whole shir. I can't give a shir. I chapzich on a question that knocks off. It refuted my whole thing that I was going to say. So I said, but we wouldn't think of it. I can't tell you something. That's not a emistic thing. He's not focusing on if it's a novel idea. He's focusing on if it's a truthful point. The focus of truth allows a person to see value in a different way. The novelty of his novel idea is a different novelty. He's not carried away by it. And he listens very carefully to things that he's not that are going to slug up. Things that are going to question. He's listening very carefully because it's all part of his journey. When you seek two kinds of approaches. One is sitting with a company. Those companies that get very carried away with their success miss a problem in their company, and the company ends up going down because they weren't listening carefully. Their mila is what they're focusing. See, there's two ways to look at mila. There's mila as in valuable or not valuable. So it's the same concept we spoke about last week in the area of Knei Lecha Chaver. There's a concept of mila as everything is up for sale. And there's a scale. What are my virtues? What are not my virtues? There's good things, there's bad things. And then there's a person who's not focusing on virtues. He's focusing on a journey. So in order to be on a proper journey, I've got to just scale the journey properly. So I got to listen. So someone's going to sell me something that's not working out. I'm listening very carefully because I need to have the right journey. If someone's going to tell me a problem I share that I'm giving, I can't give it because I need to have the right share. His focus is in doing the right thing, not in impressing people, not in getting a lot of money now. He wants to have the right company, and he will have the best selling company if he focuses on that. He's going to have the best mile and the best chesar. He's going to be able to travel a lot further than the other people because he's focused on the journey. Says the Frierdiker Rebbe, an onav pshat is, it's a focus. It's a focus on emes, on a journey. It's a focus that I was given a journey and they were given. Everyone is given a journey. I'm not here to feel the great parts of my journey. I'm still in the middle of a journey. The Anav is essentially in the middle of a journey. Let's see how this plays out in Simcha, and we'll see how the Anav, how this has a consequence to the Anav. So like this. Let's say you have a company and things are not working out. Things are not working out. Sales are not going. What's the approach of each one? How does each one react? The one who focuses on the journey, we have to listen. We have to. There's something we're not servicing right. He doesn't get mad. The one who focused on his value, he's burning mad.
On his staff.
He's burning mad. Who did that? Because he's expecting things. Let's take this a step further. Frierdiker says something very powerful. He says, when is a person happy? Are you happy when you get a salary?
Yeah.
Yeah. But are you happy when you win the lottery? What's the difference? A salary is expected. It's not simcha. Simcha in shtot, I got my salary. I expected it. If you don't give it to me, I'll be upset at you. I'll sue you. I have to be happy. If you don't give it to me, I'll take you to court. The lottery is simcha is a haftarah. It's a surprise. Simcha comes from a surprise. Simcha does not come from something I expect.
Yeah, but you can have, well,
Simcha amiti is like a
okay.
Osher amiti, right?
But even with a salary, you can, like, another week, I got money to pay the rent.
In a chanami. But that's an expected salary, זה לא שמחה, יש שמחה, בן אדם נכנס לבית, משהו קרה היום, מה קרה? קיבלת היום צ'ק, מה, לא בדיוק כך, אולי הוא לא ינתן את זה, you never know, maybe the boss wouldn't have given to you, and who knows, right? But a real simcha is after. Says the Frierdiker Rebbe.
Put a bonus behind that check.
A bonus, you're very happy. Gave you a bonus, it's a different happiness. Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You made my day. Right? It's a different feeling. Right? Unexpected. A simcha comes from something unexpected. If I expect it, it should have happened. Why should I be happy? Magia li. Why should I be happy? Not only that, but if you don't get it, I'm unhappy. And not only that, Magia li yoter mizeh. Says the Frierdiker Rebbe, the boss, the person who is approaching life, is one who focuses on values, never happy, because he expects things to happen. So when they happen, why should I be happy? It should have happened anyway. And even when they happen, he's unhappy because he should have gotten more. He's really such a good company, he should have been much more. So he's never happy. The Anav, who is approach to life, is one that he's on a journey. Wow, so happy that it worked out. When you focus on servicing the customers and doing what's right, when things work out, you're happy. We're making a good day. We made it today. Wow, so happy. Because it's a surprise. You never focused on the outcome. You focus on what you have to do. So you're a happy person in life. You're happy when you have it. And you're happy because you're not, you should have gotten, you don't have that expectation, should have gotten more, you don't have that whole so he's a happy, simcha is dafke by anav. He's a happy person, he sees his chesroinus, he can mingle with anyone, he doesn't have that block, he wants to hear, but it's in a healthy way, it's because he recognizes he has a journey, and every individual has a journey. And that's what it means, anav. If someone else would have been given my journey, how do I know if I would have done? Journey is the word here. The word here is not talents if they would have been given. He recognizes, who am I? I have my journey, they have their journey. I'm focusing on my journey. When you focus on your journey, you have no time to look at other people's peklach and other people's thing. And he's a happy person.
But is your journey like, I have a goal somewhere there? Is your journey open-ended?
No, the journey is now.
Very present.
The journey is right now. I'm focusing on what I have to do now to make myself better. Well, let's say 3 areas. Let's talk about a chacham, a business, and a personal life. So a chacham is going to have Reb Chaim is preparing a class to give to his students. He's going to say, I have to make sure, there's 2 focuses. When a person appears anything, there's 2 focuses. He can focus on saying something smart. I want to say something in front of people. I want to be smart. I want to chop them by a mistake, so you be smart to someone. Or you can focus on saying something emes. So Rav Chaim had a choice. He could have said something to his students, but his focus was saying something truthful. It's a different focus. You know what? It's not just a focus on the material he's going to give. It's going to be a focus on his yachas to his talmidim. It's going to be a focus on how they listen to him and how he talks to them, how he listens. It's a whole different focus of a person. The company who his focus, he wants to make $1 million today. You can cheat a few customers and win money, but you'll lose customers. You can cut corners, but if you want to build something, you have to not look at yourself and what you gain out right now, but you have to look at the value you give to them. So who are you focusing on now? You're not focusing on yourself as a service. I'm here to service. I'm here on a journey. I'm here to do. I have to fix. Automatically, when you say the word journey, you have to fix. And automatically, it's not pulling you down, but it's part of growth is fixing.
Why? Why journey? Why does that imply doing what you have to do right now, fixing, flowing, whatever? What is journey? That doesn't seem like the
Maybe
right
the word journey is not a good word. The word
not
journey,
a
what I'm
good
trying to say
word.
with the word journey means to say that I'm traveling. You see, when you're on the road, you're not looking to be comfortable.
Okay,
You're looking
that's
to
better.
reach your destination,
Traveling.
right?
Traveling means that
I have a destination. יש לי יעד, נכון, אני חייב לתקן מה שאני חייב לתקן. I have a flat tire, I gotta fix the flat tire. It's not, you gotta go. You can't sit around.
You roll with the bumps, maybe.
You're not gonna say, oh, there's a bump on the road. I'm gonna stop in the middle of a highway. I'm not gonna continue. You gotta go. You gotta do what you gotta do. I recognize this is not, because there's a bump on the road, doesn't mean I'm bumpy. It means the part of the road is bumpy. See, people get very, very edgy. Oh, that means I'm bumpy? My company has a chesar? No, relax. You're on a road now. Your company is not a company yet. Your drasha is not a drasha yet. You're not anything yet. We're on a road. And when you look at yourself as on a road, so the miles and the chesarones together are looked at and viewed in a different perspective. They're looked at as part of how we go forward on that road. So you're happy. You're able to see both of them. You're able to see the mile and the chesaron. This is very similar to what is mentioned last week, the example of the rich man and the poor man. Remember the example? So the rich man wanted to exchange his child with the poor man. Two brothers. One of them had 6 children, and one of them had a lot of money. And the rich man said to the poor man, give me one of your children, I'll give you $1 million. Remember the example? Mm-hmm. So he said to him, in the end, I can't. Why? What happened? There's 2 ways how to view a person. Either you can view a person that each person has milas and chesroinus. Milas and chesroinus in this sense means of values and things that devalue them, that make them less valuable in my eye. Then I can trade one child for $1 million. The night before the deal, he turns around to his brother and he says, I can't make the deal. Why? Till now I thought I had 6 children. Now I realize I know 1 Leah, 1 Rachel, 1 Yankel. Can't give you my only child. Can't give you my only child. There's a way to view ourselves as an only child. Meaning to say we have a road, a journey. It's not about what I possess now in the sense of my milas or chesroin is separate. I'm in a journey. The Eibishter gave me my milas and I'm working on, so I don't get pulled down because I have a unique journey in front of me. I thought of another example. I don't know if I shared this. I was thinking of another example where you can really see a difference. Sometimes Michelle will bring out a point. So I had this question. Maybe it's a little bit of an extreme question, but it brings out the point. What's the difference between a Chabad rabbi and a Reform rabbi? I'll explain to you my question. Both have shuls packed on Shabbos with a parking lot full of cars. And the congregants come to shul saying the rabbi is very accepting. My high. So what's the difference between Chabad and Reform? So what's pshat?
The Reform says it's okay.
No, one is Friday night.
No, they come on Shabbos. They come on Shabbos.
Shabbos?
The Friday people, they come on Shabbos.
Yeah.
Right? They come on Shabbos. And the rabbi doesn't say a word. What's pshat? Mai says it.
One is looking forward and one is
So what's pshat?
looking back.
The Reform rabbi says, congregants, my dear congregants, don't worry. We're from the sect of Judaism that allows driving on Shabbos. I accept driving on Shabbos. The rabbi turns around to the congregants. You know what they say about the rabbi? The rabbi never accepted driving on Shabbos. So what do you mean that he's accepting? He accepts my journey. He realizes I'm not yet at his level.
Says who?
That's
The not from people coming to the Chabad house, they say, the rabbi accepts my journey. He recognizes that my chisaron that I have, that I drive on Shabbos, that's not who I am. I can grow, and I will grow, and I'm so happy He accepts me. He allows me to grow. He gives me step by step. He allows me. We have to view ourselves the same way. The same way the Chabad rabbi views the chisaron of a fry, we all have a fraya person. So don't turn. You're not. You're growing. You're going to accept the fact that you're on a journey. When you accept the word journey, the chisaron is not a chisaron. It doesn't devalue the congregant who's not Shemer Shabbos from the congregant who is Shemer Shabbos. And that is exactly the approach we have to a Yid. We have the same approach to ourselves. That's pshat mailas atzmai and chesroides atzmai. I don't see the chisaron as something that devalues me. I don't see the chisaron as a moment that I lost value. I simply see it as part of my journey. And every single person has moments that they have things that are not working out because we're not yet at the end of the journey. We're in one step of the ladder. We're heading in the right direction. So therefore, I don't get sucked down in quicksand and pulled down by the fact that I'm not yet there because I'm on a journey. So I see Mailas Atzmai and Chisar, but yet I'm not going to define that Chisaron as that's who I am and I'm not going to get out of it. I know I shouldn't be there and I'm working to get out of it. And while I'm working to get out of it, I'm happy and I'm joyful because I'm getting out of it and I'm on the right road. Because I'm not defining, I'm not saying, Ush, I am a Machalo Shabbos.
No, but isn't there also a tendency to overlook? You said, let's say, you insulted somebody, whatever, and said, I'm on a journey, they'll get over it. You know what I'm saying?
No, you can't say for someone else. You can't say for someone
else. But you can do with that attitude. You can
for ourselves. The journey should be for ourselves, and
I'm
then
saying you may not be aware of any shortcomings with an. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm giving the opposite.
Yeah.
Thing. You with such an attitude. I'm not there yet. I have what to work.
So you're saying
but
is
on the other hand,
to push towards there.
Be such a thing that you excuse yourself for misdeeds.
You're not being real. You're not being real. In other words,
I don't know being real. Hurting somebody, let's say. You can excuse. You somehow justify wrongdoings just to give it a thing. And by saying, I'm still I'm not so great. Yeah, but come on, you understand there could be is a human tendency to excuse ourselves.
Part of this is that's
I'm just throwing it
so
out.
very good. No, that's a very important point. But let's pay attention to that kind of person, and we'll see where that comes from. That doesn't come from a person who appreciates they're on a journey. That comes from a person who appreciates that they're very valuable. When I walk into shul and I am the president of the shul, so I embarrass you, but don't you know I'm the president? So don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm the president of the shul. If a person's on a journey, but the real approach of a journey is it demands effort. The word journey means it demands effort. And I know that I have to do things. That's what the word journey, you're right.
Sorry, I raised my voice.
No, don't worry. The word journey would mean someone who has the approach that you need to sweat. You need to sweat together. Yeah, it's an awareness in the mind. That shows he's not on a journey. That shows actually that he's very comfortable where he is. He's very comfortable. That shows a person sitting on the couch. I'm very comfortable. You don't like it? Tough luck on you. But I'm good where I am. Right? That's what you're bringing up.
Yeah, I mean, it's human nature. I'm
right.
just talking about what can be in a person.
It's a tricky thing. And what we're trying to bring out of here is that the approach of the person is not to focus on how great I am and not to focus on how inefficient I am. Those two areas of focus drive a person in extremes. Rather focus that I'm driving, I'm heading somewhere. Just like the focus that a Chabad rabbi has towards, we're very good when it comes to a Fraya person. We're not good when it comes to ourselves. We're not good when it comes to our own. It's more challenging. But the Fraya person, we're amazing.
Oh yeah.
The Fraya person, it doesn't even cross my mind, right? Yeah, that's it, finished. It doesn't even cross my mind to judge them. It doesn't even cross my mind to say their chisaron knows who they are and put them down. But when it comes to my own life, I can put myself down. And Avas Yisrael comes from Ava Atzmis. From a real Ava comes the same way the father and the child. A father shouldn't devalue or value one child more than the other, but rather appreciate it. Each one has their own journey. We need to appreciate the Eibishter gave each one a tafkid. And Eibishter gave each one their own journey. And that's what the Anav says. If the Eibishter would have given a journey to someone else, my journey to someone else, I really don't know. Maybe they would have done a better job than me. That's what he's saying. And he's right. And he's very right. And so that keeps him in shape. And that's a real approach of an Anav to be able to connect the others. And that's what the Rebbe writes in the letters of the girl to be able to connect to someone else. You want to connect to someone. Look at yourself as a journey, and then you'll see others as a journey. And when people sense that you see them as a journey, they connect to you. And they open to you. Like the Chabad house, they're accepting, they're open to you. And that's the story I have with the Tachana Merkazit, right? The story in the Tachana Merkazit. That shows on the openness. Oh, you didn't hear?
You said something.
Okay.
I forget. You said something.
I'll remind you.
So you're unfinished work. You're a work in progress.
You're a work in progress. But when you have that approach, then when you have that approach to yourself, it mirrors on others as well. Maybe it's Kedai to say. So I'll repeat that story for you. It's a good story. Yeah.
Does that come back to what you said at the beginning, that in order to have a connection, a relationship with another person, a friend,
You have to see chesroinus.
one needs to accept his own chesron.
That's right. That's
So
where it
you're
comes.
saying when we look at ourselves as a work in progress,
Then you're able to see others as a work in progress.
them as a work in
Exactly, and that's what allows you to connect. And if you look in the letter, that's what the Rebbe writes. Gam lo chaser b'shleimi, she is missing. She's a work in progress, and therefore don't expect them to be perfect, because they're also a work in progress. And the reason why you couldn't find a friend is you expected them to be perfect, for them to be ro'ui, to be your friend. Yeah?
But, forgive me.
Go ahead.
But sometimes I think this perfectionism doesn't come from a place of gaiva. It doesn't
It could
come
come
from
from
a place of. It can be the opposite.
Yeah.
The place of lack and
A shuffle.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
to overcompensate and all those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's
And the answer-
the
and the answer-
perfectionism is very, and then you automatically attribute it to others. Oh, they're perfectly like. You
But-
expect perfection for yourself, which is impossible, and then you somehow expect it from others to.
So I'll
Also,
repeat your
yeah.
question. And your question, the answer to your question is the same answer the Rebbe gives. Although the Rebbe is coming from the other angle. But it's the same answer to both. Your question is sometimes people can't find a friend because they feel so low of themselves, not because they feel so high of themselves. So that's what I started off with. I said there's two approaches of a person. Some people focus on their milas, and that's a stop from having a real friend. Some people focus on their chesroinus, so they can't really connect to anyone. I'm a shuffle. Comes along the Rebbe over here. He's not telling you to focus on milas or chesroinus. Focus that you're a work in progress. So the milas and the chesroinus are both taken within the work of progress. Now you can find a friend.
Such a relief.
Right.
You're a working.
It seems like
Exactly.
describe the journey
Uh-huh.
would be like words like it's much quieter, it's unassuming,
Right.
it doesn't make a lot of noise.
Right,
Focusing on the focusing on the miles is very noisy,
Right.
it's very dramatic.
right.
When you're on the journey, it's just like, okay, moving on, like
Do what you gotta
no
do.
big deal, no hullabaloo.
That's right, that's right.
I also saw just today I saw one of the kids' Rebbe videos. You know about the kids' Rebbe videos? The story about a chassid who came to the Alter Rebbe and he was complaining, he had borrowed money from people and he used to be wealthy, he lost all his money, what should he do? He said, on my own, if the Eibishter wanted me to be poor, I could handle it, but I owe people money and my daughter has to get married, what am I supposed to do? And the Alter Rebbe said to him, you're asking for what you need, but you didn't think about what you're needed for.
That's right. Very good.
Just focus on what you're needed for.
That's very, very apropos. Because what you're needed for,
I just saw it tonight.
very apropos. What you're needed for means to say the Eibishter needs you for your journey. You have something unique that no one else. In Tanya it says something very powerful. It says the Eibishter needs you, Olav Bifrat. Hine Hashem. Why? Because there's no one in the whole world that can accomplish what we need from you, Yankel, Shmerel, here in Tufshin. That's what we need from you. That allows a person to look at the milas and chesroinus within context of it. That it does it like you said, it's quiet, it's peaceful. I'll show it to you inside. There's one more point. He says this allows a person to have a toikif. Let me show you one more letter. Let's finish the letters and I'll show this to you inside. The second letter, what do we have over here? So the second letter on top, he quotes, this is an askin, right? So the mimer I shared with you is Hemshech Shavuos of the Frierdiker Rebbe. So I'm showing you how the Rebbe refers to that as a recipe of how a person can have a healthy approach of Malas and Chesrenis. So here's two letters. One letter here is of an askin, a person, community activist, who's doing a lot to expand the yeshiva. So now, what's the tev of people? When you're doing a lot to expand and it's not working out, you feel down. Says the Rebbe to him, so first of all, I know you're working very hard, but now, if it's not going to happen, if you can't really achieve what you're looking to achieve, right after the highlighted lines, don't allow this to make you feel bad. Why? Keep on searching, you're on a journey. You keep on doing what you can. And don't get tied up in the wrong Pirush of Anova, but it should be like it says in Hemshech Shavuos. The real Pirush of Anova is exactly that you're on that road. Don't say, oh, I'm on Anova, and that's why I'm feeling bad, because, it's not really meant for me, or I can't do it. No. You, in other words, like this. A real Anav can have toikif. You see, they can be loud when the journey demands to be loud. Toikif means strength, loud. How do you say it in English? Assertive, yeah. Assertive. Forceful, yeah.
It's not a steer.
Like an example, in the next letter, he gives an example. Let's say I run a moisid. I run an organization. My organization represents Lubavitch in the city. And the newspaper bashes the Lubavitch. Let's say. Bashes Frumkeit. Let's not make it personal, Lubavitch. Bashes Frumkeit. It could be enough, I'm not gonna answer back to newspapers. And that's not enough. You're not appreciating the journey you have, which is Yiddishkeit, demands that you have to answer back. So in the letter, the Rebbe writes, you do a Maimer Azal, it's a big Maila that when someone embarrasses you, you don't embarrass them back. But I don't know if that applies when the Nelav is a Moiset Tziburi, when the person being embarrassed is a Moiset. In other words, it's a question if you really appreciate your journey if you're not answering back. Why aren't you answering back? You don't really appreciate what you represent. Imagine the president's spokesman here's in the paper, well, he does it all the time. Then you answer. That's not a good example. but
it's like Rabbi Blau used to write in the newspapers, respond to people's questions about Chabad, and he would write back very strong,
very whatever
defenses of the Rebbe and the Rebbe's
of his approach. Because why?
And he was one of the most humble people.
Because it's not about me, it's about the approach that I'm defending. So he says a nice line, he says, it's very interesting that only when it comes to a moiset, only when it comes to a moiset, mitamal, everybody is praving anivus. Why? It doesn't come from real anivus, it comes from a lack of appreciation of who you really are. When you really appreciate who you are, so then you can answer back with a toikif, with an assertiveness, and even if it demands breish klei, because I gotta do what I gotta do. When you gotta do what you gotta do, you do what you gotta do, no matter what.
Well put.
And that's the approach of the Anav. You gotta do what you gotta do. And he actually uses those words in the Maimer. I'll show it to you in the Maimer. Nothing. It shouldn't.
It's like face of like a drop.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't affect you. You should be continuing on the road. Why should you be feeling down?
I'm just noticing the mashal.
Yeah, very good.
Where is it?
In the first letter, on the top. No, the same page on the top, right after the underlined words on the top. No, more up. Right after the underlined words, more up, more up.
The first underline?
Yeah, right after that. Aval imiyav, so right after that.
אי אפשר להשיג את כל משאלות ליבם לטובה, אין זה צריך להיות חלילה סיבה גם למשהו של נטילת רוח.
You see it? Yeah? So, let's,
למצוא הדרך איך להתקרב למצב הראוי להיות.
let me review the last point and show it to you inside. What do we have over here? What we have over here is an approach, and I'll show it to you inside the mimer. A few lines. There's one major line that caught me as soon as I saw it. It's such a beautiful line. When we talked about the fact that simcha comes from matana and not schar, it's such a powerful line. The Friedrich Rebbe writes, he's like an amazing writer. Gashmi, the Friedrich Rebbe wrote by Morim. If you read it, it's like you can see it as a chush in writing. He simply knew how to be mitzayir or something. In Yiddish, he had such, and in Hebrew too. He has a mind, he goes into length. So here it's a whole thing of what anivis is and how simcha happens. So the first, see the one that I underlined twice, middle of the page. On page 239, in the middle, simcha sa'adam. See that line? Simcha sa'adam hu yoiser b'matana mikmoi b'schar. He writes a line. Look before that. Look a line before that. Memela. Look a line before that. Mela. Mishum zeh einas. 2 lines before that. Misha margish. Yeah? Misha margish is atzmai.
Where is that?
2 lines before simcha sa'adam. Yeah? You see the line simcha sa'adam? So he says like, see the line simcha sa'adam, middle of the page. Simcha sa'adam hu yoiser b'matana. See that line? You see the line Simcha Sa'adam? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so he writes like this. Misha margishes atzmoi. This is a term, here, right up here. Misha margishes atzmoi, someone who feels himself. That's a term he uses for someone who's focused on his value, not on his journey.
This is a Friedrich Rebbe?
Yeah.
In Tafshin Yud.
Yeah, the Friedrich Rebbe wrote Maimorim to be published later. So the whole Tafshin, like till like Shavuos, till like Tammuz, you have Maimorim that were officially Tavshin Yud that were given out after the Talkus. But it's really his memoir. They're actually Maimorim that he said in the Pays. And they were just Magiyat and they gave it out later. So Misha Margish is asking who mutte ba'atzmai. He doesn't properly assess himself. And therefore, he thinks everything he deserves. He's expecting it. Memela is someone who expects things. Eina simcha shlema. He does not have content happiness. Gam b'masha yeshloi. Why? So he says a powerful line. He says happiness is more found in matana than in schar. In simple English, you're happy not by a salary as much as when you win the lottery. A matana. Why? That's how matana. Matana huzo mashaloi hirviach ve'enei magile. Akeinu sameach v'zeh. I don't expect it, and I didn't anticipate it. So I'm very happy when it comes. But when it comes as a reward, why should I be happy? That's what I'm expecting. That's the line that he uses. The line he uses is happiness comes unexpected. It's a very true thing in life. Before that, if you look, he writes, those that hine ru'uyim him, the line that I underlined it. They underlined. So those people that feel that they feel themselves, so they feel anything that comes milmaila, ru'uyim him. They deserve it. So therefore they're not happy. Magia lahem, right? It's magia lahem. Then he says a line like this. You see where it says kain sarech liyis? So he says like this. Aval be'emes, hine kain sarech liyis. A person's approach in life should be, this is what I have to do. If I don't do it, it's a problem. I'm not focused on how important I are. This is what I have to do. Kain sarech, this is what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. And if I don't do it, it's a problem. I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm not thinking about how valuable it is, how not valuable. I gotta do what I gotta do. That approach allows a person to be happy. It's a long aricha, so you can look at it. You can look at it later. But that's how he goes back and forth. It's a mimer that quotes a pasuk, anovim b'simcha, something with anovim and simcha. You'll see it's in Shavuos Tafshin Yud. Something Yosvu anovim b'simcha. That somehow there's a pasuk in somewhere in Shlomo Mishlik Helos. Somehow a Novim has simcha. He goes into a whole mimer. Why is a Novim have simcha? He asks a question. Novim should be the opposite of simcha. Someone says, Novim is like, so he says, no, dafka there you have simcha. And that's what we talked about. So let's summarize what we learned. Back to the beginning. The Yoim Yoim that we started off with. Now we can answer all the questions. Had a Yoim Yoim. The Yoim Yoim says a person should know Mailas Atzmoi and Chesroinus Atzmoi. And we had a question. How can I focus on both? They're opposites. Well, now it's very well understood. I'm not focusing on either. I'm actually only focusing on my journey. I got to do what I got to do. I'm not focusing on the mile. I'm not focusing on concern. And when you focus on what you got to do, so the mile and concern play out the way they play out. And you know what? The question number 2 is answered too. We said, how can you be happy if you see chesaron? Well, only someone who focuses on the journey is happy. Because the chesaron doesn't suck you down and the mile doesn't bloat you with an overbloated ego. You just focus on what you got to do. So you end up having value. You end up being happy with what you have. You end up being happy in the things that you didn't anticipate and they happen. And you end up connecting to people and you end up being a healthy person. It's not a shuffle. We had a question, how does it play out with an Anov? An Anov, we had, Moshe Rabbeinu says, if someone else would have had what I, so who cares, but you still have it. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't saying someone else my milas. So he was saying if someone would have my journey. That's what Moshe, right? The question we had is Moshe Rabbeinu says, if someone would have had my Maila, so they would have been better than me. But in the end of the day, Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that has it. So I mean, he doesn't feel good about it. He wasn't thinking about what he has. He was thinking about his journey. He was saying, I'm a Moshe Rabbeinu. I have a journey. I have to lead the Yidden. I have to make sure I do the right job. I mean, Moshe Rabbeinu's thing, right? I have to do the right job. Someone else would have my job. I don't know. They probably would have been a better leader than I would. I got to focus on my job. When you focus on your job, you have no time to feel down or up. And the downs or ups don't pull you, they allow you to continue. That is what Ayem Yem really is saying. The Maila and the Chesaron is not an inyan b'fnei atzma, it's not like a focus, but it comes within a general focus of a journey. And that concludes what we learned last week. Last week we talked about how you connect to someone else. And really it's the same thing how we connect to ourselves. It's harder to connect to yourself. It's harder to look at yourself as a journey. You always get, but if we once a person looks, just like the Chabad House Rabbi looks at the Freya Yid, if we look at us at the Freya moments we have, the same way, a person ends up being a happy person.
What if someone puts down your journey? You're on a journey, you think it's a really good journey. What if it's not?
What do you mean? Why how? Not what if someone, all the time people put down our journeys.
Right.
It's not the what if. It happens all the time that people can put down our journey. But the answer is to refocus. If I'm on the road, I don't know if this is a good moment, if I'm on the road driving to Chicago and someone says, hey, why aren't you driving to Florida? Chicago's not a good place. Thank you very much, but this is my journey. I'm going to Chicago.
I'm on the road to find out who I am.
To find out who you are.
You're gonna what?
It may not be a good journey.
Why am I? What do you mean by not?
To find out who she is. If that's what the thing is.
You're saying, how do you find out your journey, is your question.
I guess that's really the question.
That's the question. How do you know what your journey is?
What if somebody thinks they're on the journey to
And
find
really they're not.
themselves, and it's not good? I mean, it doesn't look good in the present.
What do you mean somebody thinks they're on a journey to find themselves?
Not that they think, they know.
But the method they're using is not the right.
Yeah, let's say.
It's a destructive method.
Or it's counterproductive or whatever?
I mean, according to the person, it isn't. He's not looking at his mile. He's not, putting down his mile, his concerns. He's on a journey. She's on a journey to her thing. Gotta be careful with that, no?
The person you're saying doesn't realize what their journey is in a nutshell what you're saying.
Probably.
I don't know what my journey is. I don't know what you're talking about. I feel like I'm lost. So how do I know my journey? How do I know where I should go? I don't know where I should go. That's what you're saying?
No.
No?
No, I'm saying
They
that.
are sure of their journey, except their journey is not the right
Oh,
journey.
it's not working out? It's not working out?
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy.
It's not a good journey.
No.
She's saying seeing someone else on an unhealthy journey. not
Oh, you
for
see
yourself.
someone else in an
Yeah.
unhealthy journey.
Yeah.
Oh, they're on the wrong journey.
No,
They're
it's
going
just
to Florida.
no, just
Well, they
unhealthy.
think they're on the right journey.
Yeah.
Well, the
Then you
Friday...
want to direct them?
What?
You want to direct them to
You
the...
want to, don't you? Is he somebody on the wrong
Yeah.
journey?
Yeah.
Why is that different than the Friday person coming to a Chabad house? He's also on the wrong journey.
Not
He's
just
Eich on the
going to a
Veil.
flat
Hold on a
house.
second. He's Eich on the Veils of Trefis.
Yeah, he's driving.
He's Eich on the Veils of Trefis. He's driving in Shabbos. And he's not interested in changing the Veils of Trefis right now. Tells you
Okay,
clearly.
but he's on a journey. Okay, but he's coming to the flat house.
He came for his brother's bar mitzvah.
You got to
Right? So what's the approach we have to that?
Right?
This is a different question. This is
Came
a
for somebody
question.
else, right.
Right. I'm here for the challenge.
Right.
Here for the kiddush.
Right.
Here for the kiddush, right? So why is that different? It's the same question. In other words, your question really is how do we help someone snap out of the distractions they have and allow them to go on a journey? That's your question.
Yeah.
That's your question. How do we affect change in someone? How do we pierce through bad behavior patterns and allow them to see good?
Right.
Oh, that's a whole different question. How do we change? How do we create change? That's a whole different question. Sure, we could.
Yeah.
Have to be able to.
Sure.
By being a Dugmachaya, but not that. you
There's
can have
different bad behavior patterns. We talked about. There's a lot of different kinds of behavior
Spoke
patterns.
about 'em,
We spoke about it in the past. Some behavior patterns they need a dogmachaya. Some behavior patterns they need to be broken.
Right.
Some behavior patterns need to have moments of. We all can relate to that in life. That we never changed until we had a moment of.
And it's not always our
krich.
job to break
But not
it.
all right. So it's very careful. It's very careful. But the word breaking is not a easy word to use. Sometimes you have a controlled breaking. We allow a person. What's breaking? Breaking means to break a perception. To break a perception. This is not going to work. They still climbing. You're climbing a wall until it's the gate niche, and then you turn around, right? So that's a whole different question. How you?
You got into it with your daughter, remember?
Yeah.
You
yeah,
got into it with her.
Yeah.
And somehow that did it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
Remember?
were telling us
Yeah.
about the fear.
The fear example I gave.
Yeah, that
them.
was excellent. That was really good. Oh, I can't remember it. Just
I
remember
still
that
need
you
to
were
remember it.
empathizing with her, and then she said, "Tati," but
It's not really there.
yeah.
So I did that.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. When you have an imaginary, so the case I gave was imaginary fear. So she had fears in the sense that she couldn't go to sleep. She's something on her bed. It's fear. What are you gonna do? It's a fear. And I couldn't do anything about it. So Punk then we were discussing this whole concept of breaking. So I came up with a little hamsa. So what did I do? I wanted her to experience how she is in an illusional fear. How am I going to tell it's illusional? She's going to tell me it's real. How can I get her to realize that there's no real fear? She's telling me there's something under her bed. What am I going to tell her? It's not there. It is there. I'm going to chase it away. It came back. I'm going to kill it. It gave a baby. It's another one there. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And bichlal, if I chase it away, that means I'm validating the fact that there's something there. So it means even Tati believes it's there. So what am I going to do? So what I did is a different day, Shabbos, I sat down and I started experiencing a fear, a visible fear. She said, "What's going on with you?" So I said, "There's a plane crashing, and there's people falling, and there's a plane." She looked at me like I'm nuts. I said, "What do you mean I'm afraid? Look, it's crashing over there, and it's happening there, and I made a tzimis." She says, "Tata, you're losing it. What's going on?" I said, "What do you mean I'm afraid?" She says, "We had a whole exchange until I said to her." So she said, "That is fake." So I said, "I don't understand. You also have fears." I made her realize. You know what Tati did? I thought about a crashing plane, so I felt afraid. You were thinking about scary things, so you felt afraid. Now you see how it works, and she got it. See, now you got it. So I told her, you can think about good things and you'll feel happy. And we punked then had a baby. So if I think about the fact that mommy had a baby, I'll be happy. I said, yeah, punked. Now it doesn't happen overnight, but what I did is I allowed her to snap out of a fictitious reality that she had. It's not a real thing. That's how she snapped out.
So that happened to me today.
It was a low reality, it's a fictitious.
It's a good
Because the real, זה היא מרגישה, אבל זה לא אמיתי.
הרבה ילדים אומרים...
Now that happened to me today. One of my 4-year-olds. I don't know how he was sitting at the table and he's talking about how he's afraid of monsters.